Jordan. I'll be playing Samantha.
And I am Nate, and I will be playing the therapist.
Samantha is a 35-year-old white woman who recently broke up with her boyfriend 3 months prior to coming into session. This is about the fourth session, and they have built the rapport, are now ready to dive into the existential approach.
Some of the different interventions that we will be doing with Samantha today include defining and affirming the self by achieving freedom and using courage and encouragement to foster her sense of growth for the future. Hi Samantha, how are you doing today?
Doing okay.
Okay. I noticed that you're feeling you're rubbing your shoulder a lot. Are you cold or?
No, not really. I'm just a little anxious.
Okay. That's normal to be anxious. Can you talk a little bit about what brought you here today?
I'm just keep being fixated on this idea that I'm just gonna end up alone. I don't think I'm ever gonna find anyone else again, and I don't know if I can do this. I don't want to end up alone.
I understand that you feel that you don't want to end up alone, and it's a fear of yours. It sounds like, and that's normal to feel that way.
I mean, he was like my everything. We were dating for a year, and then just like that, nothing. What am I supposed to do? He was my life. Like, I don't know who I am.
Do you want to explore more about who you are and trying to gain some sense of self back so that we can process the future a little more? I think that you may be worried about being alone and what that means for the rest of your life. Tell me, is there a time where you've ever been alone before this?
Wow. I guess, simple things, going to the grocery store on my own, or like the coffee shop, like getting my own coffee. I just once we started dating, that's just what we did together, and I haven't done that in a really long time.
Yeah, so it seems like there's a lot of changes in routine for you. Are you worried that will be hard for you to go about those routines alone?
I don't think I can do it. I feel like everyone's staring at me and judging me, and just makes me feel even more alone.
Is there anything wrong with being alone?
It's lonely, obviously. It feels like it's just a part of myself that's gone.
What if I told you that there could be something good in being alone, and that you could be more in touch with yourself? And could we think about parts of ourselves that feel good when we're alone? Like what?
I feel like that's asking a lot. Good things about being alone. I get to watch the shows that I like. He didn't really like watching Stranger Things and whatnot. Wasn't his type. So I guess that's one thing that was cool.
I hear that you did a lot of things together, and it made you happy. It sounds like that you've been watching Stranger Things. But I hear you talking about a lot of things that happened in the past. What do you do right now in the present to make yourself feel fulfilled?
I don't know. I work, but I have to because I have to pay this bill in this giant empty apartment that I have. I don't really know what I do.
What do you do to occupy your time?
I watch Netflix. it's not gonna happen to me. I'm 35. There's no way I'm gonna find someone in time.
In time?
Yeah, before I get old. I am already old. Probably should just adopt a cat.
But Samantha, are you saying this because you're afraid that you're not going to find someone, or are you saying this because you're afraid of getting old? Is there something else that you're worried about?
Well, I mean, we are people. We're gonna age, right? I mean, obviously, but like, if I'm gonna do this, I don't want to do it on my own. I don't want to go through this journey and get old alone.
It's natural to feel that way. We all want love and belongingness.
Yeah.
But Samantha, sometimes in order to find love, belongingness, and this is just an idea and not saying you have to think this way, but what if finding love was more about loving yourself and affirming yourself? Because at the end of the day, all you have is yourself, you know? And you said you're going to grow old. If you don't have someone to grow old with, you really have to start loving yourself in order to let someone in. Is that something that you'd be open to trying?
I just don't know how. I don't know how to do that.
Well, what I'm going to try to do with you today is existential therapy. Existential therapy says that we focus on, despite your past losses, we want to try to change and affirm your self-perception in the present so that your future self can be encouraged to do what it wants to do. So maybe we could start by some self-affirming statements, you know, saying it's okay to be doing things on my own. And maybe that you can change the way you feel when you do that.
Okay.
So maybe we could turn around a statement that you said to me, like, I feel alone when I'm watching the show by myself. But maybe I feel, what's another statement that you could turn that around into a more positive, powerful statement for yourself?
I enjoy watching my shows alone. Is that something?
Does that sound good when you say that?
Just the word alone is really.
What if we change the word alone to on my own?
On my own?
On my own.
Okay. I enjoy watching my shows on my own.
How did that feel?
Felt a little good.
What if we do something to make it more affirmative and more impactful? Something, maybe a gesture or something that says, yes, this is me in this moment, on my own, ready to see what happens.
Okay. Motion.
So say the statement and give us a strong gesture that says, yes, this is me.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
I enjoy watching shows on my own.
I like it.
Okay.
Good. Do it
I
one more
did feel
time. You felt good?
That felt really good. Just kind of
like
like putting it down.
lay it down.
Yeah.
It's okay to be on your own. It doesn't mean that you'll be on your own forever, but for this moment, what does it feel like to be on your own? Try it again, or maybe try it a different statement. A different thing in your day that's changed, but that we can work into a positive.
Okay. I eat what I want on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. That is something that's positive. He didn't like Asian food.
You did it?
No.
Yeah.
I love Asian food.
It's a good idea.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking about this all wrong. Maybe I can try.
I like your attitude, and certainly that will really encourage yourself to think about that when you go about your day. I also want to talk about ways that we can encourage yourself to go out in public and to try and interact with people more. Um, so when you go about your day and you're interacting with people, what was the norm like for you when you were with him before? How did you interact with people?
Well, I usually was on his side, and I guess really depending on who we were talking to, but he would take the lead for most conversations, and I would usually be on the side agreeing. Yeah, for a lot of things.
So it must be hard because now you have that empty space next to you. So you may look down or look to the side, waiting for something. There's a lot of like give and take that sounds like that's happening when you were with him. So I would imagine that does feel lonely.
Yeah.
When you're by yourself walking down the street.
Yeah. It's kind of easy.
Tell me more about that.
Just like, not that I didn't have to think, but I just always knew there would be a response, and I wouldn't have to be the one responding if I was with him. I guess, wasn't always positive. Sometimes I felt like getting words put in my mouth, but it was easy. I didn't have to think.
So just knowing that, maybe we could turn it around and say there is something exciting about going out and having to think in your future. Maybe we could talk about in future sessions. We don't have to do it all today. But I want us to start to be open to new forms of interaction and really encourage you to take a risk, because I feel like that was something that you didn't maybe need to do because it was easy, you said.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a while. Been too afraid. So. It has been a while since I ordered the coffee. He usually just got us 2 black coffees. So, it's been a while since I've had that caramel latte.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's been a while. Said it was too fat.
You said you were too fat?
No, the drink was too fattening.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how did that influence you?
Gave it up. And I want to go to the coffee shop with him. I haven't been in one since. Just drinking black coffee.
Would it be hard for you to go by yourself?
I don't know. It would have to be a day where it's not that busy. I don't know if I can do a whole room full of people getting coffee.
So maybe we could try and encourage you to go on your own when it's not busy. So maybe at different times of the day. And maybe ordering something that you were not encouraged to do. Something that makes you feel good.
Okay.
And that might open you up to going to other coffee shops or ordering different things you never tried before, taking a risk and doing something because you want to do it.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice.
Because I'm interested in this idea of what is the meaning of you going to the coffee shop? Is it because that you feel that going to the coffee shop was just something that you did with him, and now that you can't go with him, it's pointless? Or is it about the coffee?
I mean, it started off with the coffee, and we both liked coffee, and it was a nice way to bond, and then felt like we could just always go together, and now that he's not there, people might feel that or see that and know that who I am. I feel like maybe I was just always the girl who was with the guy.
Well, I really thank you for being brave and opening up about your feelings today and sharing with me your loss. But I really think we made a lot of progress with those statements, and we really encouraged you to find new meaning in your relationships and owning yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's what you bring into all your relationships is yourself and the things that make you happy and interested, not because for someone else. So next week, we'll come back to this. We'll work on more affirmations, and we'll start to talk about other things that need focus too. So thank you, and it was nice to see you.
Thank you.
Hi. So we chose this theory because when working with people who have identity issues and relationship issues, it's really important to focus on what they have lost and what they can do to bring to the present their own strengths. So we focused a lot on redirecting and making them see things in a better way than they had before.
And it was kind of like a reality check because a lot of people do have this idea that once they end a relationship, they will end up alone. And it's kind of like, why do you think that? What about you? What about this? So it's kind of like bringing them where they are of like this fear of the future, fear of the being alone, and kind of just bringing them with it and saying, but why? Checking everything that they're saying.
And so existential theory really tries to explore what is the meaning of existence and the meaning of our relationships and these things. And so really I tried to challenge Samantha to see if she could redefine some of these constructs for herself.
And I feel like a moment when I personally, trying to do this, felt it is when we did the affirmation. I remember like feeling kind of just like rigid, and the moment I like pushed down and like actually asserted myself kind of felt like a turning step potentially for that person. Just like changing the thought process of like, I do this alone, but I want to do this alone. It's okay. So I think that was an important step.
And so this is really different than person-centered. Person-centered would really try to work with and try to explore and let the client guide us through whatever issues they're working on, such as like the isolation. I would have spent more time with her on that and not try to redirect her or try to influence the way she thought.
It felt really structured, which for someone who might be feeling like the world's coming apart is something that they might need, is to feel that really like boundary, structured, kind of focused task. So, I don't know, what do you think this looked like with dance? I mean, we kind of felt like movement in it.
Yeah, I think we could definitely, like, she mentioned Gestalt and how it kind of was focusing on the polarities of the movement repertoire, but definitely like existential therapy could be used with movement because we're working at adapting the way we move and making it a strength. You can't maybe move in the ways that you used to move, like in your isolated side-by-side movement with your partner. So you're going to have to really work on movement that makes you feel stronger alone.
Yeah, and I feel like with art, it's just like a metaphor. Draw how does it feel to like go to the shop alone and like actually visually seeing it, or like visually draw what it looks like if you did go to the shop alone and like you see the fear physically on the paper that you can show them, and in time maybe see the difference of like how they project their feelings on that scenario or whatnot.
And also, this may not work with all multicultural clients because in some cultures it's not okay for someone to dictate the progress of someone's life. In some cultures, relationships and strict structural communal values are more important. so reaffirming someone's individual identity and sense of self may not be the right way to go. So we might want to be careful about that.
Yeah, and I feel like a limitation is, I think they need to be at this point to do it. They can't be like completely at rock bottom and be open up to like think in these kind of like higher ways of, yeah.
So thank you.
All right.